People who let their intrusive thoughts win once, what did you do? I put my foot in front of the girl I liked during English classes. She stumbled on it and hated me forever. Thanks, brain. Set fire to my father's newspaper while he was reading it. I was about 5 years old, so that was nearly 80 years ago, and a 40 broadsheet in those days was a substantial fuel load. I had a shit day. During my second year of uni, I'm a bit of a loner ICL, so I didn't have any friends to call up and ask to chill with me. So I spontaneously booked a train ticket to London at around 8 p.m. I arrived there at around 11:30 at night, and I didn't plan this through. I didn't book into a hotel or anything, I just kinda wandered the streets and walked about visiting places I had on my bucket list, and then I ended up going for breakfast at around 8 a.m., because I was up the whole night just walking about with my headphones on. And I ended up going to the National Museum there too. And visited Chinatown, and had some food there, and did some shopping, and by 5 p.m. I was on my way back to my student accom, which was a 4-hour journey on the train. I wouldn't change a thing about that day. It was so good. Drank a mixture of fruit juice, instant noodles, powder sauce, hot water, and I think soy sauce. This caused me to vomit like crazy the following night. I couldn't smell chicken-flavored noodles for years after that without gagging. I don't do well during holidays with my wife's extended family. I walk in the door to insults, get almost no food, and leave pissed off. One year I started drinking and a safety came off. Wife's aunt cracked a joke about me driving my same old car. I asked her if her husband was still banging his same old ex-girlfriend. That set the tone for the afternoon. Wife's cousin started on about religion and politics. I asked him about his inability to get a job and have his mommy support him in his 30s. Wife's other cousin made some snide remark about my daughter being too big for her age. I called him a pedophile and told him to keep his hands off children. At that point, people started leaving. I felt so heartbroken. I was just warming up. My wife didn't talk to me the rest of the weekend, but we won't go to many family holidays anymore.
My parents had a blender I'd use every day to make a smoothie, and it always slowed down with ice. I was annoyed at it not being powerful enough to just smash it. I thought, I bet I'd be able to stop it with my finger if I pushed down on the middle bit. Honestly, even typing it out 30 years later feels stupid. I didn't lose any fingers, but the end of one of them is all scar tissue, and I can't feel anything in the end of 2 fingers. So in a way I'm like a superhero. In another, more accurate way I'm an idiot. There was a tube of mayonnaise laying on the path near our local lake. Closed cap and still completely full and all. I was 10 years old, didn't think twice and just jumped as high as I could, landing with 2 feet on that tube, causing a 3-meter string of mayonnaise flying around. It was busy at that moment, but no one got mayonnaised. There was a long trail of mayonnaise on the path, and I was extremely proud. It's of the few memories I have in which I wasn't always thinking about what others might have thought. And one of the even fewer memories in which a stupid thing occurred, and when looking back at it now, I'm not having any regrets.
I live in India, and here they say it's good to get drenched in the first shower of the rainy season. Not true scientifically, but a lot of fun. So we as kids were allowed to play in the rain. I played for half an hour and I came back home. My mother gave me a nice bath with clean warm house water. She dried me off with a towel and dressed me up again, looking pleased with her effort. But the rain was still calling to me. After a while I went back again outside, but this time wearing my raincoat and with an umbrella to watch other kids play. There was a tank in the courtyard of a nearby temple around 3 to 4 feet deep. It was full and brown with the collected rainwater. Seeing other kids jumping, swimming, and having fun, I could not hold myself back. I thought since I was wearing the raincoat I won't get wet. In my defense, the raincoat had elastic sleeves for wrists and ankles, and jumped into the tank. At first the raincoat puffed towards the wrist and ankles as air filled inside the raincoat tried to escape, but the said elastic won't let it through. I was surrounded by water but none was inside, everything was going as planned. And then I moved a little inside the water, the air traveled from the vicinity of my limbs to chest, the raincoat near my chest which was before sealed to my chest puffed opening a big gaping hole at the neck for water to come in, water gushed in replacing the air inside, within minutes I was completely drenched. This I did not expect. I went back to my home carrying umbrella wearing raincoat yet completely drenched. My mother was not happy to say the least. Now even after 20 years I cannot forget the slipper she wore at that time. That sleeper is now etched in my memory forever. I dunno, I think of weird or scary stuff, occasionally jumping off a cliff, driving off a bridge, walking into the street and getting hit by a bus. All pretty common ones for everyone I think. I have no trouble not acting on them. Mostly thoughts like that are just imagining scenarios, and I just scare myself thinking about them. I never want those things to happen. It's just a healthy level of fear something could happen, like what if I burn myself on the stove while cooking? Then I imagine how that could happen. I had to have a therapist explain to me imagining scenarios as a fleeting thought that lasts a few seconds and is dismissed is not the same as thinking about it constantly, planning for it or wanting to actually do it. However, if it doesn't hurt anyone else, myself, or damage anything, then I'll just go with it lol. Usually it's just making weird noises, or picking things up and playing with them like a fidget toy. I wish I had something more exciting. My dad and I were having an argument when I was about 16. Damned if I remember what it was about. But I got angry and without a second thought flung a pencil I was holding at his head. Hit him square between the eyes. He got up and punched me in the arm. I was so surprised by the whole thing that all I could stammer out was what? I feel very dumb when I think about it. He and I didn't fight that much and I was usually much better at regulating my emotions. Also, I could have put his eye out if I'd been off with my aim. Still though, probably the most accurate pitch I've ever thrown. I went to an area in the middle of town in the middle of the night all greased up with baby oil and cut my clothing off other than my underwear with scissors, so I couldn't back out and put them back on, and tried to make it back to my place without being seen. I was homeless and crashing on a couch. Poured milk and pee into my only shoes and let them fester for a while so I would smell bad everywhere I went. Ditto to the above. Used a lighter and crochet hook to burn patterns into the skin on my arm. Bit a small chunk of flesh out of my arm. I was in psychiatric solitary confinement. Did sex work for drugs when I honestly didn't have a drug problem, wanted to see what it was like. When I was 13, I tried to give myself brain damage by drinking mercury from a thermostat because I wanted to see what it was like to be intellectually disabled. Also, when I was 13, I tried to kill myself with sleeping medicine to see what death is like. I have diagnosed bipolar, BPD, ADHD, GAD, and PTSD. Some of these are more impulsive than intrusive, but the last two were intrusive for sure. Most of my intrusive thoughts center around humiliating myself or putting myself into situations where humiliation is likely. It's not a kink for me, as I explored that. I specifically don't like being humiliated in sexual contexts. ETA, this was all 10 plus years ago. I'm adequately medicated and have been in weekly therapy for 8 years, happily married for 7. Thanks for watching.